You know, the Abraham story is the foundation story of the Bible. I mean, the first 11 chapters of the Bible talk about chaos. You know, there's the whole creation story and the Noah story. But once man is seen as in trouble and out of fellowship with God, God initiates a covenant with Abraham. You'll see it there in Genesis, the 12th chapter. And I just want to do a quick little overview of the Abraham story. Abraham is a flawed man, like all of us. You can see that in the chapters just ahead of this. But God makes a covenant with Abraham. And this is what he says to him. Abraham, I'm going to make a great name of your name. And of course today, Jews, Christians, Muslims, all revere the name of Abraham. He said, I'm going to make a nation out of you, the nation of Israel. Someday, he said, I'm going to bless all of the ethnics. Now, when you go to chapter 15 of Genesis, you find Abraham saying, God, I just need something. Sort of like he might say, I need a handshake or a contract or something. Because I'm an old man and my wife is barren. She's not able to have children. If I died today, one of my servants, who's a foreigner, would inherit everything I have. And God tells him in Genesis 15, that's not going to happen. You, even at this old age, you are going to become a father. And I'm going to take your descendants into a land that is not their own. And there they will be slaves and they will be mistreated. They'll be there for 400 years. Now, in the course of this, Abraham says, give me something. And God says, go get a heifer, a 3-year-old heifer. And Abraham cuts the animal in two and lays the parts out. Now, that might sound like a bit like witchcraft. But when you study, as George Mendenhall and others have done, when you study the days of Abraham, you find that that's how kings made treaties. You'd cut an animal in two, lay the parts out. The two participants, 2 kings, 2 tribal leaders, would walk in the midst of that animal, as if to say, this animal that was alive is now dead like our relationship is dead. And we stand here in the blood and the entrails, and we make a pledge to be one. Your friends will be my friends, your enemies will be my enemies. Then they would walk on through. They would look back at that animal and they would say, if I break this treaty before you do, you can go get all the folks you want and come and cut me and my people in two, just like we've done to this animal. Now, God doesn't call Abraham to walk through that animal. But you see there in Genesis 15 that God takes a flaming torch and a bowl of fire, and he moves in the darkest part of the night. He moves between the halves of that animal. It's as if God is taking a current covenant or contract form and saying to Abraham, here, you have my word on it. And Abraham believed that God would do as he said he was going to do. And so that story becomes the foundation story. And you look down the pike, as I mentioned in the previous video, and you see that the Moses story is the fulfillment of the promise, I will make a nation out of you. The Jesus covenant becomes the fulfillment of the part of Abraham's covenant that said, I will bless all of the ethnic groups. So the Bible is tied together. At one end, it's like a big boulder here, is the Abraham story. At the other end, you have the book of Revelation. I hope we understand this better as we go throughout this video. Father Abraham, the first Hebrew, the first Jewish man, he is the father of the Jewish nation and spiritually our father as well. Abraham, the foundation story.